Now we turn to the medical mix-up, raising questions about precision and care in vitro fertilization clinics. A woman in Ohio just gave birth to a baby that is not hers after she was impregnated with someone else's embryo. And a clinic in New Orleans has closed after mislabeling, saying they can't account for dozens of embryos. What are these signs about? What are the details? ABC's Andrea Canning has more.
In the ultimate medical mix-up, as many as 100 embryos at this New Orleans infertility clinic were labeled wrong. Already facing the hardships of conceiving, some couples are now suing over the loss of embryos and the emotional toll this error has taken.
It's been incredibly emotionally taxing for them. There's the shock, and then comes the fear. There's the fear of, well, where is it?
Ochsner Hospital has suspended operations for now, but says none of the embryos were implanted in the wrong mother.
It was just surreal. Unbelievable.
Shannon Morrell wasn't so lucky. An Ohio in vitro clinic accidentally implanted her frozen embryo into another woman's womb. Carolyn Savage carried Morrell's baby boy and gave birth last week.
We're going to have to turn away from our loss and focus on the gift that we're giving the Morrell family.
They have high morals and ethics, and they are willing to do what's right.
Not everyone in these rare cases find that kind of resolution, and there are many things that can go wrong with more than 100,000 embryo transfers every year in the U.S. Katie Ashero sued her California fertility clinic because she says her eggs were accidentally combined with sperm that wasn't her husband's.
They had gotten the slots mixed up in the incubator, and we were pretty crushed. It was devastating.
That clinic wouldn't comment on the allegations, but doctors say human error is almost always the culprit.
We're in a practice where there is zero tolerance for error. You cannot have an error because it affects so many lives.
For Good Morning America, Andrea Canning, ABC News, New York.
And joining us now live from New Orleans is attorney Melanie Lagarde, who's representing Kim and Abraham Whitney, a Louisiana couple who are filing suit against the Ochsner Hospital in New Orleans for losing their 4 frozen embryos, and maybe 125 couples have been affected. Ms. Lagarde, let me understand what happened here. Emily, age 2, is an in vitro baby from Ochsner, and then the Whitneys go back later, possibly to have other implanted embryos. They have the blood work, they're getting ready for this, and then what does the hospital say?
They called them just days before the scheduled transfer of the Whitney's frozen embryos and told them that they were lost, that they believed they had either misplaced or mislabeled their embryos.
Misplaced? How do you misplace embryos?
We have no idea. We really cannot understand, and have spent a year now trying to understand and trying to find answers to that exact question. How can you misplace or mislabel someone's baby, someone's human embryos?
And they've given you no information about whether they just scrambled them or whether they were actually thrown into a wastebasket or something?
They have no idea. They over the past year, we've gone through genetic testing to see if they were possibly mislabeled and put in with one of a number of other couples' embryos, and all of that genetic testing came back just on Friday, and that none of the mislabeled or misidentified or possible tested embryos belong to the Whitneys.
So you have genetically tested all the other embryos there. They have said there's no evidence that they implanted them in the wrong person. Do you accept this?
No, absolutely not. And my clients don't accept it either. It is their greatest fear at this point that that could have happened. We understand that Ochsner has no such concern, and they say that there is no evidence of that. But at this point in time, we've been provided with no evidence that it didn't happen.
They've offered an apology to the Whitneys. What are the Whitneys saying in return?
The Whitneys need a little time to process this. They absolutely appreciate the fact that Ochsner has taken responsibility for this situation, that Ochsner has apologized and offered to do what they can to make this situation right for their patients. But at this point in time, I don't know what could make this situation right for the Whitneys. They lay awake at night wondering where their embryos might be.
And of course, there's the devastating question of having another child. Can they try again somewhere else?
Absolutely, absolutely. And although the process is incredibly scary to them at this point, they do have a beautiful child who was the product of in vitro fertilization. They believe in the process. So I think they absolutely will try again. They want a family and a bigger family desperately.
Well, Ms. Lagarde, again, thanks for joining us this morning, and we're sending our regards to the Whitneys, and this is a truly stunning story.